Bowdoin College is a private liberal arts college located in Brunswick, Maine. Founded in 1794, the college currently enrolls 1,839 students, and has been coeducational since 1971. Bowdoin offers 33 majors and 4 additional minors, and has a student-faculty ratio of 9:1. The main Bowdoin campus is located near Casco Bay and the Androscoggin River, 12 miles north of Freeport, Maine, and 18 miles north of Portland, Maine. In addition to its Brunswick campus, Bowdoin also owns a 118-acre coastal studies center on Orr's Island and a 200-acre scientific field station on Kent Island and the Bay of Fundy. Bowdoin was ranked as the 4th best liberal arts college in the 2016 U.S. News & World Report rankings. Bowdoin competes in the New England Small College Athletic Conference, and the Colby-Bates-Bowdoin Consortium. History. Founding in 19th century. Bowdoin College was chartered in 1794 by the Massachusetts State Legislature and was later redirected under the jurisdiction of the Maine Legislature. It was named for former Massachusetts Governor James Bowdoin, whose son James Bowdoin III was an early benefactor. 6. At the time of its founding, it was the easternmost college in the United States, as it was located in Maine. Bowdoin began to develop in the 1820s, a decade in which Maine became an independent state as a result of the Missouri Compromise, and graduated U.S. President Franklin Pierce, who played an integral role in the nation's enforcement of the Fugitive Slave Act, and advocated for the land rights of slave owners and their cotton plantations. The college also graduated 2 literary philosophers, the writers Nathaniel Hawthorne and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, both of whom graduated Phi Beta Kappa in 1825. Franklin and Hawthorne began an official militia company called the Bowdoin Cadets. From its founding, Bowdoin was known to educate the sons of the politically elite and catered very largely to the wealthy conservative from the state of Maine. With the establishment of Bates College in nearby Lewiston, Bowdoin has historically competed with the school academically, and athletically, due to the natural rivalry that grew out of the stark difference between the two colleges, specifically regarding wealth, admissions, and academic platforms. Many alumni of Bowdoin subsequently went on to develop Bates during the 1860s, and alumni of Bates lectured at Bowdoin. During the first half of the 19th century, Bowdoin required of its students a certificate of good moral character as well as knowledge of Latin and ancient Greek, geography, algebra and the major works of Cicero, Xenophon, Virgil and Homer. Harriet Beecher Stowe, the little lady who started this big war, started writing her influential anti-slavery novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin in Bowdoin's Appleton Hall, while her husband was teaching at the college, and Brigadier General, and Brevet Major General, Joshua Chamberlain, a Bowdoin alumnus and professor, was present at the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia at Appomattox Courthouse in 1865. Chamberlain, a Medal of Honor recipient who later served as Governor of Maine, Adjutant General of Maine, and President of Bowdoin, fought in Gettysburg, where he was in command of the 20th Maine in defense of Little Round Top. Major General Oliver Rhodus Howard, class of 1850, led the Freedmen's Bureau after the war and later founded Howard University. Massachusetts Governor John A. Andrew, class of 1837, was responsible for the formation of the 54th Massachusetts, and William P. Fessenden, 1823, and Hugh McCulloch, 1827, both served as Secretary of the Treasury during the Lincoln administration. However, The college's involvement in the Civil War was mixed as Bowdoin had many ties to slave labor and the Confederacy. With strained slave relations between political parties, President Franklin Pierce appointed Jefferson Davis as his Secretary of War, and the college awarded the soon-to-be President of the Confederacy an honorary degree. The Jefferson Davis Award was given to a student who excelled in legal studies after a donation was given to the college by the United Daughters of the Confederacy. The award, however, was discontinued in 2015, with the current college president citing it as inappropriate due to the fact it was named after someone whose mission was to preserve and institutionalize slavery. President Ulysses S. Grant, too, was given an honorary degree from the college in 1865. 17 Bowdoin alumni attained the rank of brigadier general during the Civil War, including James Deering Fessenden and Francis Fessenden, Ellis Spear, class of 1858, who served as Chamberlain's second-in-command at Gettysburg, and Charles Hamlin, class of 1857, son of Vice President Hannibal Hamlin. 20th century. Although Bowdoin's Medical School of Maine closed its doors in 1921, it produced Dr. Augustus Stinchfield, who received his M.D. in 1868 and went on to become one of the co-founders of the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. In 1877, the college would go on to graduate the infamous Charles Morse, the American banker who established near monopoly of the ice business in New York, which directly led to the financial panic of 1907. Another alumnus in the sciences is the controversial entomologist-turned-sexologist Alfred Kinsey, class of 1916. The college went on to educate and eventually graduate Arctic explorers Robert E. Peary, class of 1877, and Donald B. McMillan, class of 1898. Peary led the first successful expedition to the North Pole in 1908, and McMillan, a member of Peary's crew, explored Greenland, Baffin Island and Labrador in the schooner Bowdoin between 1908 and 1954. Bowdoin's Peary-McMillan Arctic Museum honors the two explorers, and the college's mascot, the polar bear, was chosen in 1913 to honor McMillan, who donated a statue of a polar bear to his alma mater in 1917. Wallace H. White, Jr., class of 1899, served as Senate Minority Leader from 1944 to 1947 and Senate Majority Leader from 1947 to 1949. George J. Mitchell, class of 1954, served as Senate Majority Leader from 1989 to 1995 before assuming an active role in the Northern Ireland peace process, and William Cohen, class of 1962, spent 25 years in the House and Senate before being appointed Secretary of Defense in the Clinton administration. In 1970, it became one of a very limited number of liberal arts colleges to make the SAT optional in the admissions process, and in 1971, after nearly 180 years as a small men's college, Bowdoin admitted its first class of women. Bowdoin also phased out fraternities in the late 1990s, replacing them with a system of college-owned social houses. Recent developments. In 2001, Barry Mills, class of 1972, was appointed as the fifth alumnus president of the college. On January 18, 2008, Bowdoin announced that it would be eliminating loans for all new and current students receiving financial aid, replacing those loans with grants beginning with the 2008 to 2009 academic year. President Mills stated, "Some see a calling in such vital but often low-paying fields such as teaching or social work. With significant debt at graduation, some students will undoubtedly be forced to make career or education choices not on the basis of their talents, interests, and promise in a particular field, but rather on their capacity to repay student loans. As an institution devoted to the common good, Bowdoin must consider the fairness of such a result. In February 2009, following a $10 million donation by Subway Sandwiches co-founder and alumnus Peter Buck, class of 1952, the college completed a $250 million capital campaign. Additionally, the college has also recently completed major construction projects on the campus, including a renovation of the college's art museum and a new fitness center named after Peter Buck. Academics. Course distribution requirements were abolished in the 1970s, but were reinstated by a faculty majority vote in 1981, as a result of an initiative by oral communication and film professor Barbara Castor. She insisted that distribution requirements would ensure students a more well-rounded education in a diversity of fields and therefore present them with more career possibilities. The requirements of at least 2 courses in each of the categories of natural sciences, mathematics, social and behavioral sciences, humanities, fine arts, and foreign studies, including languages, took effect for the class of 1987 and have been gradually amended since then. Current requirements require 1 course each in natural sciences, quantitative reasoning, visual and performing arts, international perspectives and exploring social differences. A small writing-intensive course, called a first-year seminar, is also required. In 1990, the Bowdoin faculty voted to change the 4-level grading system to the traditional A, B, C, D and F system. The previous system, consisting of high honors, pass and fail, was devised primarily to emphasize the importance of grades and to reduce competition. In 2002, the faculty decided to change the grading system so that it incorporated plus and minus grades. Other notable Bowdoin faculty include, or have included, Edville Gerhardt Abbott, Charles Beats, John Bisbee, Paul Chadbourne, Thomas Cornell, Kristen Argotzi, Eddie Glaude, Joseph E. Johnson, Richard Morgan, Elliot Schwartz, and Scott Sahon. Rankings. In 2006, Newsweek described Bowdoin as a new Ivy, one of a number of liberal arts colleges and universities outside of the Ivy League, and it has also been dubbed a hidden Ivy. Bowdoin has been ranked among all liberal arts colleges in the United States by U.S. News & World Report since the rankings were established, and in the 2016 edition of the rankings, Bowdoin ranked tied for 4th overall with Middlebury, Wellesley, and Pomona in 12th in the category Best Value Schools. In Forbes' 2015 college rankings, Bowdoin ranked 21st overall and 20th among private colleges. Based on students' SAT scores, Bowdoin is tied with Williams for 5th in Business Insider's Smartest Liberal Arts Colleges with an average score of 1,435 for math and critical reading combined. Among all colleges, it is tied with Brown, Carnegie Mellon, and Williams for 22nd. Bowdoin was named School of the Year by Niche, and is ranked first among liberal arts colleges. Admissions. Accepted 14.9% or 1,009 of the 6,790 applicants for the class of 2019. U.S. News & World Report classifies Bowdoin as most selective. Of enrolling students, 89% are in the top 10% of their high school graduating class. Although Bowdoin does not require the SAT in admissions, All students must submit a score upon matriculation. The middle 50% SAT range for the verbal and math sections of the SAT is 660 to 750 and 660 to 750, respectively, numbers of only those submitting scores during the admissions process. The middle 50% HACT range is 30 to 33. The April 17, 2008 edition of The Economist noted Bowdoin in an article on university admissions. So-called almost Ivies such as Bowdoin and Middlebury also saw record low admission rates this year, 18% each. It is now as hard to get into Bowdoin, says the college's admissions director, as it was to get into Princeton in the 1970s. However, applicant levels have been declining since 2013. Many students apply for financial aid, and around 85% of those who apply receive aid. Bowdoin is a need-blind and a no-loans institution. While a significant portion of the student body hails from New England, including nearly 25% from Massachusetts and 10% from Maine, recent classes have drawn from an increasingly national and international pool. Although Bowdoin once had a reputation for homogeneity, both ethnically and socioeconomically, a diversity campaign has increased the percentage of students of color in recent classes to more than 31%. In fact, admission of minorities goes back at least as far as John Brown Russ Swarm 1826. Bowdoin's first African American college graduate, and the third African American graduate of any American college. Graduates. In 2006, Bowdoin was named a top producer of Fulbright Awards for American students by the Institute of International Education. According to PayScale, alumni of Bowdoin College have a mid-career median salary of $106,000. Making it the 29th highest among colleges and universities in the United States.